Welcome to the Radiate Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Christy Clemens Hoffman. Each week we will discuss tools, tips, and ways to radiate your best life ever, interviewing practitioners, authors, and luminaries to help you on your path. Wellness, joy, peace, abundance. What do you want to radiate? Hi, welcome to the Radiate Podcast. We are going to radiate nutrition today with my good friend, Ep6, or as I like to call you, my good friend, Wise Amy.
Wise Amy.
Wise Amy.
I'll take that.
Yeah, because you say that some of the wisest stuff.
Yeah.
And I quote you.
Can you tell my family how wise I am? That would be amazing.
I'm surprised that they don't know, but you know what? That's what kids are like. That's what families like, isn't it?
I know. But at least you appreciate my wisdom.
I appreciate your wisdom. I'm always whipping out stuff you say, and I go, my wise friend Amy said this.
I better be careful of what I say.
Yeah, no pressure, right?
No pressure.
So we're going to be talking about nutrition today. Amy has studied nutrition extensively, and Amy explores the nexus, the intersection of nutrition and reclaiming the body.
I think like building back a relationship with the body.
I love that. Say more about that.
So I feel like the body is where everything is housed. Like we have this beautiful machine, this universal intelligence in this body.
Right.
Where our soul's housed, our intuition, where we have to function every day. So I really like to guide people back to developing that relationship with their body again.
Well, how do people get away from that? You're saying guide us back. How do we get away from it?
Well, if we're going to go through the avenue of nutrition, I think a lot of times like we have just overloaded the body with just just our lifestyle of being busy, of eating poorly, stress, toxins, blah 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 blah. Yeah, and so it really disconnects us from what the body's even trying to tell us.
And so, how do we feel when we're not connected?
I kind of feel like people live in like a little robot state. Like they kind of get up, they're kind of just going through the functions. They're not really in tune with what they need. I hear this all the time. I'm tired. I don't feel good. I don't have any energy. They're just kind of depressed.
Sure.
Depressed, and they live in a, kind of that foggy state. And they just don't really know what they're not really showing up for their life in the way that they want to.
Oh, yeah. I love the way you phrase that. So when they get back in touch with their body, then what's the difference?
I feel like for most people, they have kind of another awakening. It's an awakening of like, oh, okay, what do I want to do with my life? Like now that my body's functioning better, like let's just say we had them totally balanced out nutritionally. And then they start to wake up on a cellular level and start to go, okay, what do I want to do? How do I want to contribute to the world? What, and really even just like spending time with their family differently, showing up, being able to be more active with their family and be more present. And so, and two, when you really understand your body signals, you can start to navigate through your day a little differently. You start to recognize when something's a little off balance. Yeah. And you can kind of take care of it before it gets out of hand.
So how do you get people back to that?
Well, let's talk about that nutritionally. So, okay, so what I like to do first is put people in a community. Because to me, community is where people feel supported. And really, when you're trying to navigate through something, you need that support. So to me, community is everything first. So I get people plugged into a community. And then we go through, because that, to me, that comes before we do anything else.
Yeah, and I've noticed about you, you've got this vast network. I mean, you know so many different people, and you're really resourceful. It's like this mental Rolodex. It's like, oh, you're doing this? Okay, who do I have that can help you with that?
I do.
You really do.
I do, and I guess because community is important to me.
Sure.
I don't have a lot of family here in town. I don't really have a lot of family in general.
Yeah.
So to me, I rely on the people in my community to be my support system. And so I'm always looking for how people can feel supported and how I can plug them into different communities. So to me, because I think that's how we're supposed to be in relationship. And so community, like that is the very first thing I do, which just kind of seems odd for people when I say, we're not going to do anything with your food yet. I'm going to plug you into community. We're going to get you supported. Nice. And we're going to get you where you have access to information whenever you want.
I love that.
And then we go in and we start adding. So we really take people and we add high vibrational nutrition, however that looks. Because by adding, you sort of get your mental and emotional state out of that state of deprivation and out of restriction.
Okay, so like I need to follow this diet. I feel like I'm restricted in what I can eat. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So none of that, because it's really, we're not looking to do a diet. We're not looking to do something for 30 days. We're looking to upgrade your life, and we're going to do it nutritionally.
I love that. Okay.
So we go in and we add in really high vibrational nutrition.
Sure.
And we just add. And that starts to fill in the gaps for people. And it is amazing when you fill in people's nutritional gaps, like what the body will do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So what do you fill in those gaps with?
Well, high vibrational nutrition is just really good quality food.
Yeah.
And that's really balanced out with vitamins, minerals, proteins, probiotics, all these things that the body requires.
Sure.
So what's interesting is that, so many of us think that food is for our pleasure, which I believe it is, but us as human functioning beings, we really need to feed ourselves on a cellular level, and our cells need to be fed first. So we really need to think about food as a way to function, on all of our cylinders first. And then we can just, use food as pleasure, as kind of I call it as like a bonus. Feed for function first, and then use pleasure. Don't use food as pleasure all the time.
Right. Oh, that.
And I think that's where we're off balance.
Yeah. How do your kids react to that?
Well, I don't think that they get it. I don't think they get it, but I notice that they're shifting in ways that subconsciously they're shifting.
Sure.
So they're allowing me to introduce a lot of things to them, and I can see that they're getting it, but they don't always know that they're getting it. They're just kind of doing it because that's what we do as a family. Yeah.
With my daughter, I always say good things first, and then you can have a cookie, then you can have whatever it is. And her thing is ice cream. So, so how did you get to this point in nutrition? Like, what happened to get you into this?
Well, I was actually doing visual merchandising for home decor stores.
Oh my gosh.
And staging homes, and I loved it. But a couple of my jobs had closed up, and so I was freelancing, and it was really hard to freelance in the Midwest here because we just don't have that many home decor stores. But honestly, I was just sitting there and I was so tired of people getting fussy about their couch not coming in, or spending hours going through fabrics, and just people would just get really uptight about that kind of stuff. And I was kind of over it.
Yeah.
And so my daughter had severe eczema since she was born. So I was pouring through nutritional, avenues, alternative avenues, and I remember thinking, like, there's got to be a better way. And at work one day, I opened up this local magazine, and there was an ad for nutrition school.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
I never thought we even had one around here. I wouldn't even thought that was an option for me.
Right.
But it was the right time, it was the right place, and it stood out to me like highlighted. So.
You're the second person that I've had in this podcast talk about, they just opened a magazine and there it was.
Yeah.
This huge evolution for them just happened to look, I mean, of course we know that there are no coincidences.
Right.
So it just kind of,
It was, and I remember thinking to my family, I took this ad and I carried it around for weeks. And I'd ask my friends and family, I said, do you think I'm crazy for doing this? Because it was so different than anything I had done. And they're like, no. Like, it just seemed to them like, well, no, you've been reading books on this, forever. So I was like, okay. So I remember it was cold and I went to registration. I had flip-flops on, and I'd actually found out I was pregnant. And then all my jobs fizzled out. So, I mean, it was really beautifully, divinely guided to me. Had the best experience at that school. And it's no longer there.
It's not, I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, excellent.
We shut it down. Like,
it was open just for you broke the school?
I seriously think it was open just for me because it shut down like right after I graduated.
Oh my God.
So it was kind of like, here you go. Okay, now we're done. But it was a really great time. And I have a beautiful connection with people still from that group of people.
That's awesome. And so, okay, I'm doing the math kind of mentally. How long ago was that?
That was 10 years ago.
Wow,
It was
okay.
10 years ago.
Interesting. So that's when your daughter was really little?
My daughter was, she was pretty little because I was pregnant with my fourth. And we still, like, every time, like, we'd go to class, they would introduce a new nutritional concept, and I'd be like, yes, that's her deal. And then the next week, they would do another one. I'm like, yes, that must be it, you know? So I went through this whole gamut with her, trying to figure her out.
Well, you had the practicum right in front of you.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would be like to go through an intensive program. You got a little one at home. You've got two others at home, a little older, and then you find out you're pregnant. It's like, that must have been a lot all at once.
It was, but you know, when anybody gets into something that really is in the soul alignment, like you love every minute of it.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
true.
know that from what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was soul alignment, and I loved it. And the funny thing is when I graduated, I still was eating like a teenager. I mean, I hadn't really shifted how I ate. I was just obtaining knowledge.
Yeah.
But I wasn't embodying any of it. And so I started doing classes, and I felt like such a hypocrite because I was still going and buying bags of candy, running through the drive-thru, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, I can't teach this when I'm not doing it.
Right.
So 3 of the gals that graduated started this whole food cleanse, and it was like a 21-day whole food cleanse. And so they were trying to get me to come and participate, and I thought, no, that's too hard. I don't want to do that.
And you had just finished the program.
I know. I had just finished the program. So finally, I think I finally decided I was ready to do it.
Yeah.
And when I did it, it changed everything. Because it really introduced me on how to move out of this state of how I was eating into a better way. Yeah. And it changed how I cooked. I mean, it really, like, my husband was like, I don't know who invaded your body, but you, like, he couldn't cook with anything that was like, he couldn't add vegetables to anything. Like, I was that picky. And so it really made me understand the difference between having the knowledge and going through an experience where you have to really take that knowledge and do something with it.
Well, and you understand from, a potential client's point of view, too. It's like they've got a husband, they've got kids. It's not just them having to make these changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and my family was not on board.
I can imagine.
They were not on board, so I had to go through a lot of period of where I tried to revamp everybody and lots of resistance. So I kind of went full force, and then I had to back off, and then I would try a little bit more, and then I would back off, and then I realized, like, this had to be my journey first. And so I had to go through and shift myself, and if they wanted to come along, then so be it. So
you were preparing meals for the family and then something else for yourself?
Not necessarily. Like, I was just kind of I was trying to incorporate both. It's not always easy, but I was trying to make a meal and then see if I could tweak it a little bit for me and the rest for them. So it's been hard. I mean, that's been kind of a back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah, that's challenging because I'm gluten free and I can't eat it, and then my daughter is not. So it's like I'm always having to make different meals for both of us. And it can be hard, and it can be overwhelming. So, like, I can imagine working with a client saying, well, you would feel so much better if you made these changes. And they're like, but you don't understand my life.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I kind of do.
I kind of do. And honestly, I got to the point where, we all want our family to eat healthier, but I kind of just gave that up. And they've all come around, which is funny, because
that's hilarious.
I had to just sort of go, okay, I got to worry about me. And if sometimes I did have to cook 2 meals, and that was fine.
Yeah, well, and then there's I think it's Jessica Seinfeld route where you hide all the stuff,
yeah.
right?
I think I tried that too.
Yeah, I tried that with my daughter. Yeah, they still figure it out.
They still figure it out.
Right. Yeah. So you went through this program, you started working on yourself. How did the 30-day cleanse go?
The 30-day cleanse, it was amazing. And so I was so basically it was a process of eliminating everything out. And then you would start with fruits and vegetables per week. And then you would start building up. Every week you would add in something else. So at the end of 21 days, you would end up with a pretty good basis for a whole foods lifestyle.
I love that.
And then, if you wanted to add things in, if you wanted to add meat back in later, you could. And it was really great because I really learned how to cook. Because when you're forced to deal with just fruits and vegetables, you get really creative with what you're doing. And so I loved it. It changed everything, and of course I wanted to be a part of that. So I was like, I have to share this. Can I teach this with you guys? And they were like, sure. They were very generous with allowing me to do that.
Oh, super.
And so then they all kind of ended up going off and doing other things, and I kept teaching it. And I taught that for about 5 years, but I kind of got really bored with it because I was evolving in my nutritional needs. I was evolving with what I wanted to do, and I just didn't. And I was finding that the people I was attracting, they weren't really participating in the same way they were when I was really into it. So I understood that my attraction with my people was kind of a telltale sign I needed to just take a break and refocus.
Right.
And then this is what's exciting. So again, I had hit a real low place because I was kind of cut myself off from teaching nutrition. My kids all were at school. I was very, very lonely.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I opened up a magazine again, one more time, and I was just like, I knew I needed to just do something. And I opened up a magazine again, and it was an ad that led me down this amazing spiritual path. And so, and then in that spiritual path, 3 years of really, I dug deep. I went all in because I had I was gifted the time, and so I used it, and I dug deep, and so I was trying to reconcile, okay, how does this food stuff fit in? Because it just always was this nagging thing in me that I needed to reincorporate that, but I didn't know how. And so, probably about 8 months ago, in my meditations, I kept getting this, people will call it a knock on their door. To me, it was like a knock in my meditations, asking me that it was time for me to upgrade what I was doing nutritionally. Because I had really kind of backed off again. I really wasn't putting much effort into it. Yeah. And I was being asked to really get back in there and look at it again from a different angle. And so I understood so much more now about our emotional body, our spiritual body, our energetic body. I learned all of that in that time. And so now I had all of this that I combined with, the physical parts of the nutritional body. So, so something came into my life to upgrade my nutrition, and I resisted it big time.
Really?
I did not want anything to do with it because it wasn't what I thought nutrition should be.
Could I ask what that was?
Well, it's in the form of shakes, supplements.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so to me that wasn't nutrition. Nutrition was big, beautiful, glorious, colorful food.
Absolutely.
And so I didn't want anything to do with it, but it changed my world. It changed my world because what I understood now is this was food. But it's what I talked about earlier. It's food that feeds us for function, to feed ourselves. And what is beautiful about it is it's a really pure... It actually is. I was probably eating better through these shakes than I had been in my normal daily life. Because you know how it goes. We don't cook for ourselves. We run around all day.
Absolutely.
We're not eating. Even if you know it, you're still not doing what we know to do.
Yeah, and we can make changes there are these wonderful nutrition bars out there. I love the RX bars. I make smoothies for myself every morning, but we're still running around. We're still just kind of grabbing whatever. I mean, we're making some changes in that, but it's still somewhat convenience food.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about something different.
Well,
Yeah.
it's still convenience food.
Right.
But it's convenience food that is so beautifully proportioned. And the guy that formulates this stuff has such a beautiful knowledge of the vibration of the elements. And he is able, like, he has a gift of understanding vibrational and, elemental vibrations. So he formulates for that purpose of combining the elements in a way that really matches our DNA. So once I sort of got through my preconceived ideas of what food was and just started to experiment with this, I started to really break open, it broke open a whole new level of nutrition because my body started to change. I woke up in a way, and I thought I was pretty awake.
Right.
But I woke up, and all of a sudden, I woke up on a cellular level that I didn't even know existed. And so really things have exponentially just blew up since that point. And so what I realized too is that this is really an avenue for people who won't take the time. They can have these shakes that are beautifully high vibrational food, and it gets them in a place where they can feed themselves in ways that they won't otherwise.
I get it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm really passionate about it, because I know people, I took all these people that used to do my cleanse with me are coming back around because they're like, I love the essence of what you used to teach, but I'm not doing it. I said, I wasn't either. So I get it.
Interesting. It does take a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes preparation, it takes planning, it takes frequent shopping, so it takes a lot of research.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I teach a class on raising your vibration with food, and it's basically what you're talking about, just the best, most organic, the cleanest foods. Don't stress about it, just do the best you can. And seriously, it's always just do the best you can every single day. Just try to make good choices. But it's, it's still a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. And I resisted that because I kept thinking if people would just get back in the kitchen and do this and do that. But I wasn't doing it. And I work from home. So I had no excuses. None.
Yeah.
So anyway, this was just, and it was really me reconciling that this was a form of food that could really be beneficial for people if they weren't, So we had an event last night, and just listening to people's stories. I mean, people are going all day sometimes without eating anything.
Oh my.
But then we expect our body to be like, I want energy, and I want to lose weight, and I want my hormones to be balanced, but they're not eating. People are not eating. They're not eating enough. They're not eating the right things. And so, again, in my meditations one day, I got this, really what was downloaded to me was that this is really a gift for people in between us trying to, until the planet self-corrects itself, until our food becomes more nutritionally available again, which I do believe it will be. But it's sort of food for the interim. That's kind of the download I got.
Interesting.
And that this is really a gift for people because we are not, and really what happens is when people too get nutrition and their cells wake up, they're more willing to understand that connection between them and their food and the planet. And they find that relationship back with themselves. But we're in such a chemical fog that people are missing that connection.
Yeah, talk about that a bit. You were talking about our food not being nutritionally available, and you're talking about this chemical fog. Can you just address that a little bit more?
Well, give me a little go into that.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? So you're talking about food not being nutritionally available and wanting to return to a time when our food is more nutritionally available.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a really secret that our food just doesn't have the nutrients are not available in our food anymore just because they've been so chemically, treated, our soil's depleted, and even in our organics, even organics, I mean, that's the best that we know to do, but they're even a little bit void of what used to be available in that food. So I do think that we have to find alternative ways for the body to function. I mean, we are living in these bodies, and these bodies are so intelligent, but they need the tools. They need what we needed through food that we cannot get right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a feeling that was where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because over farming, not rotating crops, using all of the treatments that they do for crops, just even our soil is just not what it used to be.
Yeah, and we're so disconnected. Like, we have no idea, if what our food, we have no idea if what we're eating even has any sort of nutrition in it.
No,
anymore.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And so really, I loved that this thing came into my life that says, you know what, like, we have put the quality control in this. So you are at least getting the bioavailable nutrients that your cells need to function every day.
Right.
And it's amazing. I've seen some pretty, of course, you see people lose weight and you see people's health improve and all this stuff. But what I love, I can't tell you what I love, is when people just, like, it's that moment when they wake up. Like, when people wake up on a cellular level,
right.
There's nothing like it.
Wow.
Because that's their soul going, hello, I was in here. I was just clouded under all this fat and toxicity and, all this chemical stuff. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. So getting people to feeling really, really great.
Getting people to really feel great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And, one of the other things that we do is, so we get people connected. Mm-hmm. We start adding really, really high quality nutrition, and then we go in and we start cleansing. So I know fasting has become this really hot, popular topic for fasting, and that's pretty much what we're doing. We're just doing it, with things that support fasting. Mm-hmm. But that really goes in and starts to take these systems that have been overloaded, and because once we get the body to where it feels safe, that's like another thing. We add in nutrition, and we add it in a place to where the body feels like, okay, I feel safe now. I'm getting everything I need every day. It's coming in consistently. Whew, okay, I can start to not hold on to things.
Yeah.
The body can get out of survival mode.
Yeah.
When we get to that state, we go in and we're like, okay, it's time to start cleaning house. And we go in and we do it through supported fasting. And we just do 1 day, or we'll do a 2 day, but that really starts to go in and starts to pull out that old stuff that we've been hanging on to for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. So supported fasting, like supporting with supplements and...
We support it with a juice. It's the aloe vera juice, but it's a really easy, it's an easy way to do fasting that supports the body as well. Mm-hmm. So it keeps your blood sugars level. It goes in, the aloe vera attaches to your toxins. And so it pulls...
I did not know that.
Yeah, so these are cellular cleanses.
Sure.
And so the aloe vera will attach to the toxins, and it will eliminate the toxins through your urine. Mm-hmm. And what else is, fat and toxins kind of like to hang out together. They tend to get stored together.
Sure.
So again, when we clear out toxins, we get to, a lot of our fat stuff will go out with it. Our fat stuff. Our fat stuff. Those little fat guys. So that's why people tend to lose weight, and they tend to rebalance. And but again, what's fascinating is because we record everything in our cells, every emotion,
absolutely,
every event. When you do a cellular cleanse, it goes in and it starts to remove old emotional stuff,
old
programming,
residual emotions.
Yes,
it's
awesome. So things that no longer serve us,
a lot of that, yeah.
We can do that through nutritionally too.
Oh, that's interesting. So as people are going through this cleanse, this fast, does like old stuff come up for them?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
so then, of course, because I've been through it myself, we help coach people through that, because they'll think that like things aren't working and they're feeling awful. I'm like, oh no, this is awesome. You
need to get rid of that.
The body is ready to let that go.
Now, what happens if somebody's got, a family? They've got to work. They've got to manage their day, and they're doing this process.
Usually it's not that intense.
Okay.
It's usually not that intense. And actually, it's such an easy fasting day. Most time I say do it when you're busy because you're not really,
That's
it doesn't
true.
take you out.
Right.
It makes you a little hangry,
Yeah.
but you're like, it's a day. I can do a day. I can do
Right.
2 days. Like
Anybody
in
can
the
do
big
a day.
picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it kind of depends on what your goals are. But I think the cleansing is a huge part of this process because I realized and again, I think this beautifully came into my life to help me understand you can fill people up nutritionally. We can change their nutrition, but we have to go in and do some cleaning too.
Oh, yeah. You would not eat from a dirty plate.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a process. We get
Sure.
the body safe.
Sure.
Then we go in and clean
that's
house.
all root chakra stuff.
Oh,
you know.
for sure.
Everything
It is. It's
stems
all
from that.
sort of
It
beautifully tied.
is. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I know for you, part of your journey has been exploring the emotional side of it, and the emotional component of it, and it's emotions stored in the body.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add about that?
I think that these two are so interconnected.
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's
and
why I asked.
I didn't realize that. I think I was led through my own journey
Yeah.
to I had the nutrition and then it stopped, and then I went through my emotional body, and that was sort of coming to an end of having to be that in depth with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm getting to see how those two things beautifully intertwine.
Right.
And how we need both.
Right.
We need to nutritionally balance out, but it helps us. And again, I think too, when you are in a different place nutritionally, you're much more aware of how to deal with your stuff.
Well, this is true, absolutely, because you're more focused. Your mind is clearer.
Yeah, your mind is clearer, and you've kind of removed some old emotional
Right.
stuff, and you just feel better. And whenever we feel better, we can deal with our stuff easier.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and another thing that I teach in this vibration of food class is that, everything that we have around us picks up, it has its own vibration.
Right.
Everything has its own vibration. Then, of course, the pure, more organic type of food has a higher vibration. Overly processed food has a very low, almost imperceptible type of vibration. But what I'm finding is that it comes from not only the quality of the food and the process and everything, but all of the people who come in contact with it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that was the other thing that attracted me to this type that I'm using, because what I am very conscientious of that, and I very
Right.
much want somebody, anyway, the company itself, oh my gosh, they are very conscientious of
Okay,
that.
can we just say the name of the company?
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, so Isogenics is the company.
Isogenics, okay.
Isogenics is the company. But they're so heart-based. The company is so centered in heart-based business. And from the top down, because I've been watching and I've been researching and I've been kind of going, okay, if I'm going to share this with people, I need to know that the vibration from top to bottom is good.
Right.
And I have been more impressed than I ever thought I could be.
Really?
Yeah, because I love the way that they're very conscientious about their where they source their materials from,
Good.
who they source it from, who and where,
Right.
what the impact is after that. They're just a very heart-based company. So you see that filtered down. And so I was at a convention not too long ago, and I've never seen in action a company that pours into their people, and the people are so grateful that they pour back into the company.
Interesting.
And when the company gets, starts to grow, they pour more back into the people. And it's just this beautiful circulation of give and take. And I was just sitting there. I could almost see it in my mind, the flow of that. And I was like, I'm in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely. Yeah, wonderful. Because I do find that the food we take into our body, and really everything, the couch we're sitting on, the paint on the walls, all of this stuff, it all carries a vibration, and it does pick up vibration from the people who've touched it. In Sunday school, I'd have my students like think about, well, how many people actually touch their food, and this is 3rd through 5th graders, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking about, well, there's the farmer, okay, who else? Well, the people who work in the fields, okay, who else? Well, the people in the store, of course, okay, who else? People in the factories, and the drivers of the trucks, and all of this picks up all the vibration of the people who touch it. So,
Yeah.
and then that comes to us. But it sounds like this company, at least, they have reliable sourcing, they have ethical sourcing,
Yes.
things like that. That's good.
I met a gal from corporate, and I met 3 people from corporate, and they were so happy to go to work. Like, we were at a weekend deal.
Yeah.
And they were so happy to go to work, and she was telling me how well they take care of them there.
That's great.
And so that was really a big deal to me because of what you said. Like, it's not just the end product; it's everything that comes
everything
before.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie like Water for Chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that, where all the emotions go into the food.
Oh my gosh.
That is just the best. So
That is the
go see
best.
that movie, like Water for Chocolate. And then, we've got this company, Zum, here in Kansas City. 'Cause
Yeah.
of course, we're based in Kansas City. And if you're not feeling it, they don't want you to come into work.
Well, it's
They
like
give
Cafe
you-
Gratitude, too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did not realize Cafe Gratitude's awesome.
Yeah.
They do that too?
They do that too. Like, if anybody's having a bad day, they say, okay, go walk around the block for a couple days. They do a clearing session in the morning.
I love it.
Before they start. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a conscious
Exactly.
visits. Actually, to be honest, I really wasn't looking for anything.
Really? So how did you find it? Did you pick up a magazine?
No. No. It actually got introduced to me 5 years ago, and I said, heck no. I don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
Got introduced to me 2 years ago. I said, no, thank you. Didn't even care. Didn't want anything to do because it wasn't what I thought food was.
Yeah.
And so then, but I really enjoyed the couple that were introducing it to me. We became really good friends, and we started hanging out, and her and I were starting to develop some retreats in Mexico. And I know, the guys got really exciting. We went down to Mexico. She had a relationship with these beautiful resorts. And I kept asking her, I was like, well, can we do this without isogenics involved? Because I don't want any part of it. She was like, you're crazy, but yeah, we can. She goes, you can. She goes, I'm not. Because she knew the power of it. And I said, okay. And so, but just hanging out with her and understanding it, really, I got introduced to it in a very subtle way. But the more I looked at it, the more I kept thinking about it, and it just kept nagging at me. And of course, that relationship with her really came into my life about 2 months after I kept getting that nagging meditation to upgrade my nutrition.
Interesting.
Because I think what was happening was I was being called to do some bigger things, and I needed to be clear, and I needed to be functioning, and I needed my cells to be on all cylinders.
Right.
And I didn't understand that, but so this had come into my life, and I kept rejecting it. But anyway, hanging out with her, I saw the people in her world. There was just something that kept nagging at me about it. So finally I was like, fine, give me your stupid shakes, and I'll try it out. And like a week and a half, that's when it was like, wing.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I thought I felt pretty good. I was pretty active. I was, but man, that really changed it for me, because I just started to really wake up. And I don't even know the better way, but it just felt like that. It felt like somebody turned the lights on in a different way. And I had so much energy. And so they have a 30-day cleanse system. So I thought, well, I used to do cleanses. Let's see how this one compares. So I'm using myself as an experiment and taking people along the way with me, and just kind of saying, hey, I'm trying this out. Follow this with me. Give me your feedback. Well, that 30 days, that's when I really went in and did some cleansing. And wow, that changed my body composition tremendously. Like, I went down 2 sizes. I mean, it just... muscles I didn't think I had. I was able to physically do more than I've ever done. And I think because I wasn't really getting that protein source as often as I needed. Mm-hmm. So I really started again to understand the body very differently and what the body needs. Mm-hmm. And so what I think I was being woke up to, and I'm sure it keeps evolving, but It's really like we have got to make the body the boss. The body is the boss, honestly, because that's really where our soul
That's
is
where we
residing.
live.
That's where we live.
That's what carries our soul around.
Exactly. And that's that relationship we need to have with this physical body, is getting really back in touch with our soul and our intuition. But we have to kind of clear the gunk out of the way to get back in touch with that. And so that's how I coach people, is the body is the boss. Everybody wants to outsmart the body. We want to do it through all these different diets, through keto and through Weight Watchers. Like, we all think we have this idea of, like, if I just cut out my carbs or if I cut out sugar, we're always trying to outsmart the body.
Yeah.
And all the body says is, I just want the tools I need. Just give me the tools I need and watch me do my magic. And so that's really where that's my mission, is to teach people how to make the body the boss again.
Interesting. I love it. Yeah, because, if the body's not feeling, health is everything, but really the body is everything.
The body is everything, because we can't do anything without the body.
You can't do anything without the body.
We can't do anything.
The body wears out, you're no longer here.
Exactly.
It's what helps us do our mission.
And my parents they're in bad shape right now.
Yeah.
And so that was really kind of eye-opening for me too. I was like, we have a gift. We have the gift of good vibrational food that was introduced to me. We have the gift of knowledge, of wisdom. We have the gift of support. So I'm like, we have so many things our parents didn't have.
True.
And I just can't not do that with the gifts that have been given to me.
So let me ask, have you started your parents on a nutrition upgrade?
They are not willing.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're not open to it.
Okay, and then let's circle back. Your daughter, how's her eczema?
Excellent.
Wonderful. So it's managed and under control.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
And we work through a lot of emotional stuff, but we also, she does the shakes as well. But the shakes have been good for her, because she's an amazing eater. She eats better than I do. But the shakes have just gave her some of those elements that maybe she wasn't getting.
Yeah.
So it's really balanced her out. And but really too, I think from a lot of her eczema was a lot of emotional based.
Yeah, the skin really represents the face that we're showing to the world.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that she had that from such an early age, from a baby, you said.
From a baby. And there was something in me that I did not want to treat it medically. I just knew there had to be another way. I didn't know at the time what, but I was relentless in my pursuit of it.
Yeah.
And so.
Interesting.
She's 13 now, and she looks amazing.
That's
and when
wonderful.
people see her that haven't seen her for a long time, they're like, "Oh my gosh,"
What happened?
But it's not like people go, "What do you do?" Well, it's a process. It's not just a quick, here's a cream. It's a process. That pill, it's a process of working through all that we work through.
Yeah, and so you're working with her on emotion too. She's maybe carrying something from a past life.
Oh, I'm sure she is.
I'm sure she is.
Yeah, and she's got a lot of amazing gifts. Like she's so in tune, she doesn't know she's so in tune.
The new kids are very much like that. They just come in with these abilities and this energy, and, it's just amazing. So we're drawing to the end of our time. So is there anything that you would like to just summarize? What do you think are the most important points? Maybe the biggest takeaways? What do you think?
Okay, so let me think about this. I guess really what I want to highlight is that I really have this mission to introduce people to this level of nutrition, because I want people to do their magic. I meet the most amazing people who have so much to offer to this planet. And if I can help support that nutritionally, I want them to have access to this and to understand what feeding themselves on a cellular level can do. Because when people wake up to their own magic, it's explosive. So that's really my goal, is to help people bring out their own magic, get back into that relationship with their body, and we can do it in the most convenient, easy way.
Mm-hmm. Good. Well, the people who are listening to this podcast, can be from all over the world. And so they might not have the the access to this, but to me, I would hope that people anywhere where they are will just wake up to the fact that nutrition just so supports the body, that taking care of our body is really the most essential thing we can do. It probably even more essential than spiritual work, which is important,
Right.
but without maintaining the body in the best shape that we can, we're not going to be able to even do that important spiritual work. I want people to understand the relationship between emotion and the body.
Yes.
Yeah, and the relationship between the toxins in their body and having maybe feeling and expressing, and even the relationship between toxins and emotions, which I love that you brought up. I had not really thought about that when we're releasing the toxins, we're releasing these old stored emotions.
Yes.
I love that. So I really want people to take that away too.
And we can do that. There are definitely ways to do this without isogenics. Isogenics just makes it really easy.
Right.
It just kind of takes all the thought process out of it. But
Right.
yes, if anybody's interested, we can absolutely do it, through other avenues,
Yeah.
for sure.
And so if people wanted to get in touch with you, could they do that?
Yeah. So
Super.
you can go to my website, which is amylynsell.com.
SELL. Okay.
amylynsell.com.
And we'll put that in the show notes. And then Isogenics, we probably have that on your website?
Yeah, Isogenics, and it's a global company, and it's just an amazing resource for everybody on this planet right now. There's so many light workers that they need to be doing their thing.
Yeah.
And so that's my partner Diane and I. That's our mission, is to find those light workers, get them nutritionally going, and let them do their magic.
Yeah, so many light workers, and of course that's energy healers, energy workers, mediums, hypnotherapists, anybody who's doing more of this quantum type of work.
Activists,
Activists, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Or just, the caretakers.
Yes.
So many caretakers don't take care of themselves.
Right.
But they have the gift of giving service to the world.
Absolutely.
And those people need to be functioning on all levels.
They do, firing on all cylinders. Yeah, and so we take on people's stuff, and so need to be able to support ourselves nutritionally, whether it's through isogenics or other means. And of course, Radiate Wellness does not endorse or promote any particular product. So, but this is one of the many avenues that people can take.
Yes,
one
of the most exceptional ones I have found.
Yeah, and I want you, listening to the podcast, to do your own research, find what works for you. That's the most important, I think.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, Amy, it has been a pleasure. I always enjoy talking to you, my wise friend Amy.
My wife.
You put that on your website.
I'm going to have to come up with some beautiful, what's it called?
Existential?
Whatever. Yeah, anyway.
That's wonderful. All right. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Radiate Wellness is a community of holistic and alternative healers and consultants based in the Kansas City area, dedicated to helping you create spiritual, energetic, and physical well-being. To learn more about our practitioners, services, classes, and events, or to schedule an appointment, visit us at radiatewellnesscommunity.com.